Okay, so are you the correct person? This is a really important video, this one, probably the most important one you're going to see before you make the decision, because this is going to colour whether you enjoy the process of learning, whether you enjoy the process of being a driving instructor, and whether you make it more of a career rather than a job. So I'm going to go through a few things now that I think will help you be a good instructor and the skills that you need, and they're more mental skills rather than physical skills, because we and your trainers, your mentors, can give you the physical skills. That's not a problem, but you need the internal skills, really, the mindsets and all that type of thing. If you don't have that, that's very difficult for us to change. So you have to be honest with yourself. You have to decide whether you think you are these things, and please ask friends and relatives and your mates down the pub for honest opinions, because this could save you a lot of time, money and heartache finding out actually you're not the right type of person, and therefore you are going to struggle. You might qualify, but then when you get out there, you might not join the job. You only have to go and talk to some people at driving driving instructors, that's what you are, at the test centres, and you'll find there's a good majority that don't really enjoy what they do. They don't enjoy aspects of what they do, and that's a shame, really, because you only get one life and you should enjoy what you're doing. And I'd like to bet the reasons you're looking at this video is because you're looking to change something. You're looking to change your job, because you don't enjoy your job, etc., etc. Have a look before you just jump into a new career, whether there's things you can do within that job you could change, or whether you could change your mindset of that job. That might help before you jump into a new career, rather than trying to change the career to make you happier. See if you can become happy first, and then decide if you need a career. And there's lots of books on those types of things. The Happiness Effect is one, for example, that you could have a look at, and you can find them in our shop. It's really important you work out why you want to change career before you change career, and say if it's because you're not happy or you don't enjoy what you do, the chances are you might take that over to the new career. So do be aware of that. So I'm just going to look down occasionally at notes, because it's not a memory test, and I want to make sure that I cover the main points that I believe you sort of need to think about before you jump into this career. So basically, are you quite calm? You don't have to be like rude, because that can be a problem as well, because you're not worried about the bus coming around the roundabout or whatnot. But can you be calm under pressure? Are you going to get wound up by things? Are you going to get annoyed by people being close behind you, or beeping you, or overtaking you when they shouldn't, and all that type of thing? Or are you just going to take it in your flow, you're going to use it as learning opportunities for yourself, because it could have been something you put into that made that happen? It could be a learning opportunity for the learner. Are you going to use it in a calm way and not get wound up by it? So do you get wound up by other people on the road? Because you're going to be on the road a lot, and you're going to have this type of thing going on around you. So you've got to be reasonably calm, reasonably placid, but say not super laid back. Are you the sort of person that likes to facilitate someone else's learning? So you take enjoyment in someone else's learning. That can mean enjoyment in someone who's struggling, because if you enjoy facilitating someone's learning, it means if someone's struggling, you're going to enjoy that, because you'll be looking for ways of helping them, techniques, information, knowledge, etc., to help them, rather than getting annoyed because they're just not pulling off what you want them to pull off. They're not just learning because that last person you said that to got it and did it, and this person's not. And some people get frustrated by that, rather than thinking, well, what's happening here? Is it the way I'm doing it? Is there something else I could be doing? Could I find out from blowing on Louise another technique, etc.? You need to be willing to adapt and change and find out what's going on, and to help people. So you have to enjoy the challenge, if you like. If you're someone that doesn't really enjoy a challenge and steps away from a challenge, then this job may not be for you, because it's full of challenges. Self-reflection. Do you look at yourself? There's a difference between self-reflection and self-criticism. Self-reflection is your fertilizer, is the thing that makes you grow. Self-criticism is a poison, and can make you sort of wither into yourself. So do you self-reflect, or do you self-criticize? And if you don't do either, could you self-reflect? Self-reflection is really important, because if you're blaming the other people all the time, whether it be the learner because they're thick or they're not learning properly, or are you blaming the other car drivers? Are you blaming your trainer because you're not getting through? What are you doing to make a difference? Are you self-reflecting? Are you looking after? Are you taking responsibility for what's happening around you? So are you the type of person, for example, when you're driving, that if someone pulls out, you have a go at them, when you could have probably could have worked out they were going to pull out, and you could have done something about it by easing off, where you're going at a speed around a bend and then someone's there and you'll think, oh, cyclist, I hate cyclists. When actually, if you hadn't been going so fast around the bend, you'd been able to deal with the cyclist quite easy. So are you looking at what you're doing, and are you then trying to find strategies or ways of helping you deal with those situations rather than just blaming the other person all the time? Good one to ask friends or relatives. Ask your children. See what your children think, whether you're always doing the same thing. So are you always saying the same thing to them? Shut the door, shut the door, shut the door, and they never shut the door. Are you looking for another solution to that? Or are you just saying the same thing over and over again? Because that can show a lack of self-reflection, because you're not looking into what you could do to do something different. And self-reflection is the biggest skill that we all have, whether it be bringing up kids, whether it be our jobs, whether it be trained to be a driving instructor. If you're not self-reflecting, you are going to struggle a bit to improve, really. And this job, you should be improving every day. You should be learning something new every day. So self-reflection is a really, really important part of it. Are you a people person? It doesn't mean you've got to be gregarious or whatever that word is and be the first one to talk to people in a crowded room with stuff like that, because I'm certainly not. But do you enjoy people is what I suppose I mean. Do you enjoy interaction with people? Do you enjoy learning about people? Because you need to learn about your people here, because if you do, you're much more likely to be able to help them. What makes them tick? What things are they interested in? Yes, and people say, well, it's not relative to teaching, but it certainly is, because you need to find ways of getting into their heads and getting them to buy what you're saying and doing and trust you and all that type of thing. So do you find people fascinating? Do you find the way that people think and act fascinating? Because if you do, you're much more likely to be able to be good at this. Are you organised? I'm not the super organised person, but are you reasonably organised so you could run a diary? You can, put people back to back. You can not be driving all around town all the time. You can put your pupils into a certain order. You can organise your marketing, your finances, and all that type of stuff. So that's an important element. There are, of course, things we will teach you to how to do that, but you have to be reasonably organised. Are you going to turn up on time? Do you turn up on time at the moment, or your friends around the store is moaning because you're late? It's not really a major issue in most walks of life, but in this job, you're running a business, you're expected to turn up on time, and you're expected to drop pupils off on time. So can you organise that? Because if you're dropping people off late, they could muck up their whole day because they missed their bus to college, etc. So do you take those things quite seriously, and do you think they're important? Because they are going to be an important element of whether you're successful in this job. Because there's more to be a successful driving instructor than just being able to teach people. It's the whole thing. It's a whole package, if you like. Are you business minded? Have you been in business before? Are you willing to get at 5 o'clock in the morning and do stuff if you need to? Do you understand how business works? Again, there's videos and things on that, but are you willing to do marketing? Are you willing to go and do a car boot sale to get pupils? Are you willing to stand outside of college and do a competition, etc., etc., etc.? Or are you going to sit there and watch Jamie Carl and expect it all to come to you? So it sounds quite harsh, but it's really important to self-reflect on all this stuff. And this whole video is about self-reflection. If you look at this and go, yeah, I'm all right, then you're not really self-reflecting. If you sit down for a couple of hours and go through the list and say, yeah, I think I'm not so sure of that, but I think I could read some books on that, or get Blaine or Louise to help me with that. I can do that. That's what it's about, really. Are you flexible? A lot of people come to this job because they want to get away from their 9 till 5, etc. And are told by lots of people, you can do your own hours, you can work within the kids' holiday, the kids when they're at school and all that type of thing. And you can to a certain degree, but you have to be flexible. You have to be willing to do that lesson on a Sunday evening when the pupil's got a test the next day and have missed a couple of lessons for one thing or another. And you just need that little brush-up session. Are you willing to do that? Not every week, but would you be willing to put yourself out a little bit? Would you see it as a chore? Would you, I can't think of the word, but, would you be annoyed by it? So therefore, you wouldn't do a good session. So are you flexible to drop people off at a different place, pick them up at a different place? I'm not saying you have to bend over backwards, because that can cause its own problems, but are you a little bit flexible and willing to sort of put yourself out a little bit sometimes, because you need to be in this job? Are you empathetic? Do you understand why people don't always learn? Are you empathetic? Do you think, oh, that's all right, we'll just try a different way? Do you get annoyed when people don't listen to you, or people don't appear to be listening to you, or people don't take on board what you're saying? Or do you feel for them? Because if you're not empathetic now, hopefully you'll be empathetic by the end of this process, because you'll go through this process. It's not an easy process. It's quite a lot of work. It's quite tough. It's quite a lot of soul searching. and you should then become empathetic with people that are doing the same thing somebody's learning to drive. It's not an easy task to learn to drive, and you might have learned to drive very quickly and think, well, why can't I do it? I did it. Well, no, no. And if you're not empathetic with people going through a process and lots of things going through their heads, then again, you're not going to enjoy the job. You're just going to get annoyed and frustrated by people, and it's not ideal. It's, you know, we want you to enjoy this job. We want you to go through the whole process and really embrace this career rather than the job, rather than sort of being annoyed by it, frustrated by all these things that can happen. Are you imaginative? I can't say that at 5:30 in the morning. Are you imaginative? Can you think outside the box? Can you go around problems? So if you brought something from IKEA that's missing a screw or bracket, could you work out how to sort it out rather than going all the way back to IKEA and queuing up for 7 hours? Could you come up with another strategy, something else you could do? Just stick a bit of wood under it or something. But can you think through problems when it's a rainy Wednesday and the kids are on holiday? Do you come up with ideas and different games they can play? You're in a caravan, you've got 2 carrots and an apple. You know, can you come up with something? Can you come up with something to eat, or can you come up with a game and then you can eat the game? That sort of thing. Because being imaginative is really important in this job, because you're going to have to think on your feet and you have to be able to adapt and change. And I keep using that a lot, but people learn in so many different ways. You have to be willing to adapt to that. And we'll give you lots of tools, of course we will. But what we can't give you is imagination. So are you an imaginative, or are you the type of person at work that just waits to be told what to do and told how to do it? Or can you think, well, that needs doing, I'll go and do that and I'll work out a way of doing it. I'll go on Google, I'll do this, I'll do that. That's what you need in this job. You need to be able to do that. You need to be able to come up with ideas and think around problems. And the last thing is, are you motivated? You're still watching this video, so we hope you are reasonably motivated. That's why we leave it to the end. It's quite a long one. This is probably the longest video you'll watch, but you need to be motivated. You know, there's other videos on this, but this process, you're going to be working at this. You're going to look at, you need to be doing 300-400 hours of out of car training, out of car practice, watching videos, etc., webinars, live chats, whatever system you're using, to be able to learn everything you need to learn for this job. You need to be able to go out and practice with a learner, with a mentor, with a trainer, however. And again, there's videos on all your options, but you need to be motivated. It took me 2.5 years to qualify. Most people take at least a year to qualify. And the only way you're going to be motivated, if you really want this, if you're doing it just as a job, just a change of job, then you probably won't keep the motivation going long enough. If it's something you really want because you want to change something, change your lifestyle, change road safety, you've got a real change in your head, then the chances are that you will be motivated to do it. But take it from me, you need to be motivated, you need to be willing to put in the yards, and then you'll be absolutely fine. So please have a look. We're going to, below this video, is going to be this list, as you can look at it over quickly. Just sit down, reflect on this. Sit down for a couple of hours probably. Just go through each bit. Talk to someone you trust. Tell them to tell you the truth. Because I don't want you to go any further really, unless you're ticking most of those boxes, or not all or if not all the boxes, or you feel that you can change some things, and you can learn about those things and change them, because that's the only things that you need to learn what to do, of course, but you also need these characteristics to be able to make this successful.